There's three elements of that I would touch on. I would say that the first element of this is that indexing is how most investors approach every other asset class, and so why would you treat crypto any differently? That's the base case for indexing the space. If you think about an institutional investor who has 1,000 clients and is managing a bunch of money, they don't have time to go out and pick individual stocks, generally speaking, or individual commodities. So to think they'd have time to go out and pick individual crypto assets when it's just 1% of or 2% of their portfolio just doesn't make sense. And so what they typically do is they choose a couple model portfolios or index funds and they allocate a bunch of their clients to it with a few toggles here or there. And we believe that a crypto index or basket will be a core piece of those portfolios for institutional investors if you look out 10 years from now. It's just the easier it's like the easy button for investing in the crypto landscape. Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum are like something around 80% of the market. Once you start to add other assets like Solana XRP, you get above 90% of the market. So then the argument would be, why wouldn't you just hold Bitcoin and Ethereum? That brings up, I would say, my second point, which is if you were investing in the internet back in the early 2000s, you could have just bought something like Google and you would have done well. Like, don't get me wrong. I wish, that I had a bunch of money and just bought Google in 2004, and great, because it was the biggest asset in the internet space. It was dominating search. It was the obvious play. But if you had just bought and held Google, you would have missed things like
Mm,
Salesforce, and you would have missed things like Amazon, which disrupted retail and changed the way that we interact with stores and e-commerce. You would have missed things like streaming with Netflix, which actually outperformed all of those assets since the
mm,
early 2000s, since 2004. And so I think that's the argument also for indexing, is that you can try to pick one and you might do well in crypto because we're so early in the journey if you just
mm,
pick
mm,
Bitcoin. But odds are that picking winners and losers is more difficult than taking the indexed approach. And I think that just leads to the third point, which is that passive beats active like some insane amount of the time across every asset class. It's like 90% or more across active management. Passive wins. And so I think that there's no reason to expect that crypto will be any different.